Words you need, block 3 для нормально общающихся. In this course, there are 800 words that you need to know if your English is pretty good, but you want it to be excellent. This is lesson 6. In this lesson, we've got words 251 to 300. If you haven't watched the first 5 lessons of the course yet, you can find links to them under this video. All right, let's get on with the lesson. The first one. Мой будильник разбудил меня в 6 утра. My alarm clock woke me up at 6 a.m. Interesting phrasal verb. My alarm clock went off at 6 a.m. Alarms go off, but that means стало звучать, стало звенеть. It went off. Strange, isn't it? It went off. It started making a noise. And we don't only use alarm for alarm clocks. Alarm is also сигнализация. Это твоя автомобильная сигнализация. Is that your car alarm? And the same. I need to go outside. My car alarm is going off and I need to switch it off. So the alarm is going off, so I need to switch it off. Strange phrase, but that's what we say. We also say, I was very alarmed when I heard the news. So it was alarming news. So if I was alarmed, it's like I was very worried. It was very worrying. It was alarming. Alarming. Okay, next word, 252. Я нашла достаточно грибов, чтобы наполнить свою корзинку. I found enough mushrooms to fill my basket. This is one of those words which is pronounced differently in the north of England and the south of England. In the north, it's a basket, short sound, basket. In the south, it's a basket, a double sound, R, basket. So in the south, the sound in alarm and the sound in basket is the same sound. Alarm, basket. Alarm, basket. But in the north, alarm, basket. So you need to choose, but don't just say basket with Russian pronunciation. Basket. Basket. And on websites in the UK, we have a button, add to basket. But in America, they say, add to cart. Cart. So they call it the cart. But a cart, in England, we call it a shopping trolley. So it's a bit confusing. A cart is something that you can push in a supermarket. We call it a shopping trolley in the UK, and Americans use that on websites, add to cart. Whereas we say, add to basket. Right, next one, 253. Я хотел бы забронировать номер на следующей неделе. I'd like to book a room for next week. Obviously, book is книга, but when it's a verb, it's забронировать. That's why the website is called booking.com. You've probably heard of that website. So, to book, забронировать. Мы отправим электронное письмо для подтверждения вашего бронирования. We will send an email to confirm your booking. And just be careful with the pronunciation. It's not book, it's book. Look at my mouth. Book. Even when I pronounce the book, there's already a gap between my teeth. You can't see it because my lips are together, but There's a gap between my teeth. Booking, not booking. Booking. A booking. Then another useful phrase. The hotel is fully booked. The cruise is fully booked. So that's if there are no more places, there are no more rooms because it's fully booked. 254. У него блестящий ум, блестящий. He has a brilliant mind. Remember, brillianti is diamonds. So we might say, she looks brilliant in those diamonds. Она выглядит блестящей в этих бриллиантах. Brilliant, and don't say brilliant. It's brilliant. Between the r and the l is just a little brilliant, brilliant. But all the stress is on the r. Brilliant. And then we just go brilliant. There's no e in brilliant. There's just a lot of and then some brilliant. A brilliant mind. Блестящий. 255. Ты опозорил меня перед моими друзьями. I think maybe опозорил is a bit too strong for this, but you embarrassed me in front of my friends. Maybe it's опозорил слегка. Because usually if something... It was so embarrassing. If something is embarrassing, it's a little bit funny. It's not serious. If something's serious, we can talk about shame. We can talk about humiliation, унижение. Embarrassment, it's not really serious, but it's uncomfortable. So, I don't know. My dad's dancing is so embarrassing. You know, his dancing, it doesn't bring shame on the family, but it makes everybody feel a bit uncomfortable. That's embarrassing. This one. Она выглядела очень смущенной. She looked very embarrassed. If someone looks at what does an embarrassed face look like? Well, an embarrassed face is usually red because people often blush when they are embarrassed. So to blush is when your face goes red with embarrassment. And here we have the noun, embarrassment. Она не могла скрыть свое смущение. She couldn't hide her embarrassment. So this a feeling of embarrassment, it's uncomfortable, it's awkward, неловко, but it's not like shame. Shame is a deeper feeling. Embarrassment, it's kind of funny. Especially when somebody else is feeling it. Okay, next one. Завтра у меня собеседование на работу. I have a job interview tomorrow. So, on TV, I know that interview is interview. But when it's for a job, you say собеседование. We say interview on TV and interview if it's for a job. They're both conversations between two people. They're both interviews. A job interview tomorrow. The next one, 257. Это остается загадкой. It remains a mystery. Mystery. Here is another word where the I almost disappears. Mystery. Mystery. Lots of ma. Lots of ma, a little bit of and lots of sa. Mystery. A mystery. It remains a mystery. Oh, that's a little mistype. A pichatka also has this sound. Mistype. A mistype. It's a mystery. А таинственное загадочное место. It is a very mysterious place. Mysterious. So the stress moves. Mystery, mysterious, mysterious. Along sa, mysterious place. Mysterious. What else can be mysterious? Let's have a look in the corpus. Talk about mysterious ways. God works in mysterious ways. The journalists tried to explain the mysterious death. He disappeared in mysterious circumstances. Mysterious. You can really hold the mysterious. Mysterious. Next one, 258. Билеты можно приобрести online. Можно купить. Everybody knows купить to buy. Not everybody knows купить to purchase. Tickets can be purchased online. I wonder what else. What else can be purchased? Let's have a look. Oops. Purchased. Noun. Tickets. Tickets can be purchased. Yeah. The land was purchased 5 years ago. That's about земля, the land. Участок. Usually if we talk about участок, we just talk about land in English. The home was purchased in 2003. These items were purchased using a credit card. So, purchased. And there's also a noun, a purchase. So, I hope you are happy with your purchase. Or, good phrase, congratulations on your purchase. Purchase. Okay, the next one, 259. Меня исключили из группы. I was removed from the group. Исключить, to remove. Эти деревья скоро будут убраны. Убрать, remove. These trees will be removed soon. And let's have a look at some more removed phrases. We'll use the collocates again. What other things are often removed? The children were removed from their parents. Sometimes social services do this. They take children from the parents. The children were removed. What else can be removed? Time. I'm not sure what it means by years were removed. The skin was removed to reveal the muscle underneath. Interesting idea. All right, so that's removed. And we also use the word removal when we talk about moving home. Компания по переезду помогла нам с переездом. A removal company helped us with our move. Don't say a moving company. A moving company sounds like компания, которая двигается. But a removal company is компания по переезду. A removal company. And 260. Большинство людей живут в городских районах. Most people live in urban areas. So, usually you can divide the land in a country into urban areas and rural areas. So, rural areas, that's сельские местности, and everywhere else is urban areas. So there are urban, The middle part of your tongue needs to move towards your top teeth. Urban, rural. Urban, rural. They both have this sound. Urban and rural areas. That's the first 10 words. So this lesson is divided into 5 parts. In each part, there are 10 words. And that's the end of the first group of 10. So if you like, press pause. You might want to review the words again, or review your notes if you're making notes. And if you have bought full access to the course, then now is a good time to go over to hopkinsenglish.com and do the tasks for this part of the lesson. And then come back and we'll look at the next set of 10 words. Let's move on. Number 261. Наш сын научился ползать. Our son has learned to crawl. When you say crawl, try to get a sound at the beginning. Try to blow some air out. Crawl. Don't just say crawl. Crawl. And it's a double sound. Or. Crawl. Crawl. With a l, dark L, that's l in your throat at the end. Crawl. L at the end. Crawl. Our son has learned to crawl. Ползать. Какова глубина реки? What is the depth of the river? So, of course, you know the word deep, глубокие. The noun from deep is depth. Depth. Let's look at the next one. На этой полке так много... Oh, I hate this word. Пыли. For me, пили and пыли are almost the same. Pili, they drank. Пыли is about dust. If you know any non-Russian speakers, ask them to say пыль. It's the most difficult word. It's really hard. Anyway, there is so much dust on this shelf. When you say dust in English, make sure that your vowel, your is not too big. It's not dust. It's dust. Dust. Really short. It's clipped before the unvoiced s. Глухой s. Dust. There is so much dust on this shelf. And we also use the word dust for протереть, вытереть пыль. Мне нужно протереть пыль со всех поверхностей. I need to dust all the surfaces. To dust the surfaces. Here's a dust cloth. So that's a cloth for wiping dust. Where's my feather duster? A feather duster is like a long stick that you can use to put into corners to get the dust and the cobwebs. Cobwebs are old pautine. A web is like fresh pautina. A cobweb is a dusty old pautina. So webs and cobwebs, you need a feather duster to dust them. Dust all the surfaces. And sometimes we call помойки dustbins. Not just bins. Dustbins. So if bin is just корзина, a dustbin is your outside bin. Помойка. Next one. Эти старые книги очень пыльные. Oh, it's so difficult. Пыльные. Can't do it. These old books are very dusty. Dusty books. Okay. Next. Землетрясение разрушило много домов. The earthquake destroyed many houses. So it's earthquake. Don't forget that when we say the before a vowel, we say the. The earthquake. The earthquake. The earthquake. With a nice, you can even do a nice long one. The earthquake destroyed many houses. Earthquake. The stress is on earth. Earthquake. Earthquake destroyed many houses. 265. Выпускники университетов обычно получают более высокую зарплату. University graduates usually get higher salaries. Graduates. Graduates. The stress is at the beginning. The DU is pronounced a bit like a J. Graduates. Graduates. University graduates. I am a graduate of University College London. And sometimes we also use the word alumni. I am an alumnus. Not illuminous, alumnus. We are alumni of, and we call it UCL, University College London. I'm an alumnus, we are alumni, we are graduates. When we talk about aspirantura, we use the phrase postgraduate. She is a postgraduate student. We sometimes talk about postgrads, postgraduate programs. Not most graduate programs, postgraduate programs. So a postgraduate student is aspirantura. But then after that, there are also PhDs. PhDs are also postgraduate students. First, you do a master's. That's the first level of postgraduate. And then after that, you can do a PhD. Of course, the verb is to graduate. So the stress in graduate and graduate are both on the first syllable, but the last syllable changes. When did you graduate from university? The graduates graduated last year. So graduates graduated. Graduates graduated last year. Next one. Пожалуйста, установите эти обновления. If your phone is in English or any of your devices are in English, then you've seen this word many times. Please install these updates. But quite a useful phrase actually. Рассрочка is pay by installments. So if you want рассрочка, in English it would be pay by installments. Pay by installments. How is that connected to install these updates? To be honest, I'm not sure why installation and installments are connected. But they are. They are. What other things can be installed, actually? That might be interesting to see. Installed. This will have to be collocates. For noun. Let's have a look. So you can see it's often used with computers. The system was installed. The software was installed. Windows. Probably not about Windows in the house, although you can install new Windows, which is interesting. You can install a new version of Windows on your computer, and you can install Windows in your home. That's quite funny. But equipment, new equipment can also be installed. A camera, Security cameras, for example, were installed. So in that context, it's probably more like установлены, isn't it? They were installed. Their security cameras were installed. Solar panels were installed on the roof. So there we go. Next one, 267. Не опирайтесь на двери. This is the message you can see on all the metro carriages in St. Petersburg, at least, probably in other cities too. Don't lean on the doors. Don't lean. There's a famous song. Lean on me when you're not strong. So that is to lean. What do we lean on? Lean on. Collocates, nouns, 0. Let's have a look. We'll probably find something. Lean on your friends, or lean on a wall. Lean on people. Lean on God. Lean on a railing. That's I always forget this word. It's the thing you can hold on to when you're going down the steps. That's a railing. Lean on the railing. Lean on my shoulder. To lean on. If you need some extra support. Let's look at 268. В моем городе есть угольная шахта. There is a coal mine in my town. So mine, it's a little bit strange that a mine can refer to shachta, or it can be mina in a war. So there are mines in that field. That's probably about minное поле. But there's a big mine in my town. Not mine. Yeah, mine. That's about shachta. And somebody who works in a mine, shachtor, is a miner. My uncle was a miner. So you could say that, Shakhtar Donetsk, the football team, is Donetsk Miners. Miner. These words, miner, like small. A minor means somebody who's underage. So somebody who's under 16 is also a minor. It's illegal to sell alcohol to minors. That's about people who are underage. But coal miners can buy alcohol. So, несовершеннолетние не могут купить алкоголь, но шахтеры могут. Miners. The pronunciation's the same. Okay, 269. Рождение ребенка совершенно особое событие. The birth of a child is a very special occasion. So we have this word occasion for событие. But we also have the word event for событие. So what's the difference between an event and an occasion? Well, the occasion is the day. We may organize an event to mark the occasion. A party is not an occasion. So the occasion is the special day. The whole day is the occasion. So a wedding day is an occasion, but the wedding ceremony is an event. I hope that helps. Я пью вино только изредка. I only drink wine occasionally. So on those special days, on those special occasions. And the next one. Я хочу представлять свою страну на Олимпийских играх. I want to represent my country at the Olympics. So represent. The at the beginning, is really short, but the r is quite long. Represent my country at the Olympics. And the noun is representative. Я разговаривал с представителем компании. I spoke to a representative of the company. So, представлять, представить, to represent. That's another set of 10. So, if you like, press pause and you can review all the words before continuing with the lesson. Alright, let's move on. Number 271. Зрители встали. Весь зал встал, чтобы поаплодировать актерам. The audience stood up to applaud the actors. The audience. Americans say the audience. Audience would be British English. Imagine that this U is a W. Audience. Something a bit more like that. Audience. The audience stood up to applaud. The same sound again. Imagine that the U is a W. Applaud the actors. The audience stood up to applaud the actors. And don't forget, the audience with a Y, audience, and to applaud with a W. Put it here. To applaud the actors. The audience stood up to applaud the actors. Now that's also the actors at the end as well. The actors. So a good sentence for practicing connected speech. The audience stood up to applaud the actors. 272. Эта скамейка свеже выкрашена. This bench is freshly painted. There we go. Voice typing got there in the end. This bench, bench, make sure you pronounce that already with smiley lips. Bench, not bench is freshly painted. Bench. And that bench, the n is clipped because it comes before an unvoiced ch sound. Ben, pause, ch. Bench. This bench is freshly painted. It sounds like this. Benches. Benches freshly. Benches, 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 benches freshly painted. And that's why Голосовой ввод текста wrote Ben to start with. And then at the end it realized what I was trying to say when I gave the whole sentence. And actually that's why voice typing doesn't work very well for individual words, but it works well for whole sentences. Because when you get the whole sentence, there's some context and it's clear what the speaker is trying to say. So if you use voice typing, always try to do full sentences. 273, useful word. We use it a lot more than you use the word подбодрить. Мои друзья подбодрили меня принять участие в конкурсе. You see, you don't use it very often and I don't know where the stress is. My friends encouraged me to enter the competition. But this word encouraged is used a lot. I think you should do this. So we use it for advice, basically. If we're giving advice, recommendations, we very often use the word encourage. And in English, you can't say, they recommended me to do that. Because to recommend me is рекомендовать меня. It's not рекомендовать мне. So when we want to say рекомендовали мне что-то делать, we usually say encouraged instead of recommended. So they encouraged me to do it. It's like they gave me a little push. They said, do it, давай, давай, давай. That's encouragement. What? Давай, давай, come on, come on, come on, do it, do it, do it. I think you should do it. That's to encourage. This, come on, come on, come on. Yeah, yeah, go, go, go. Do it, do it, do it. Encourage. It's like advice to do something. Of course, the opposite is discouraged. They discouraged me from quitting my job. They say, no, don't do it. Don't do it. So to recommend not to do something is to discourage. To recommend to do something is to encourage. And the noun is encouragement. Благодарю вас за вашу поддержку. Thank you for your encouragement. So it's support plus advice, I would say. Encouragement. Support and advice. Next one. Я люблю исследовать новые места. I love exploring new places. To explore. And the noun is exploration. Освоение космоса обходится очень дорого. Space exploration is very expensive. Explore, exploration. Next one. Танцоры должны быть очень гибкими. Гибкие. Dancers have to be very flexible. Flexibility is very important for dancers. Flexibility. When you say flexible, make sure you stretch the L. Flexible, and then pronounce a very short E before the unvoiced K. Flexible. Flexibility. What else can be flexible? We often talk about flexible work. That's when you don't have to work according to a fixed schedule. If your work is flexible, you can work in the morning sometimes, in the afternoon sometimes. My work is flexible because I work for myself. Flexible hours, a flexible schedule, the same idea. A flexible approach, подход. You can do it this way, or you can do it this way. But flexible plastic is actually гибкая пластика, that you can bend, stretch, etc. Flexibility. 276. Я взял кредит, чтобы купить машину. It's not credit. I took out a loan to buy my car. I bought my car on credit. So you can use the word credit when you're talking about кредит, but you can't take credit. To take credit is something different. It's where you take the praise for something. He took all the credit for finding a solution. So maybe a whole team found the solution together, but one man took all the credit and all the praise. Everybody said, well done to him, and nobody noticed the other people. That's to take credit. So this is not take credit, it's to take out a loan. So кредит, to buy something, is a loan. A loan. What do you need to do? I need to pay back my loan. And I think it comes from the word to lend, because people lend money. The money that people lend is a loan. Next one, 277. Они уговорили меня пойти на концерт. Уговорили. They persuaded me to go to the concert. There's a nice phrasal verb for this. They talked me into going to the concert. Now, there is another word. They convinced me to go to the concert. So to convince, it's the result. Убедили. Persuade, it's the process. So persuading, it takes time. There's a lot of talking. Whereas convinced is just the result. So in this case, we kind of have two words. One for the process and one for the result. Persuasion is the process. Convinced is the result. Я научился искусству убеждения. I learned the art of persuasion. The art of persuasion. And if somebody is good at persuading, you can say, the salesman was very persuasive. Persuasive. Remember, in all these words, we have a sw sound in the middle. Persuade. And make sure it doesn't become sv. It's not svade, it's persuade. You need a gap between your lips and your teeth. Persuade. Persuasive. Sw. If your lips touch your teeth, you will say v. It's not v, it's w. You need that gap. Persuade. Persuasive. Next one. Звонят колокола. The bells are ringing. Remember, ng is pronounced with an open mouth and the tip of the tongue behind the bottom teeth. Ringing, ringing, ringing. Of course, not only bells can ring, phones also ring. Они позвонили в колокольчик. They rang the bell. So ring, like sing, is irregular. Sing, sang, sung. Ring, rang, rung. Ring. Interesting phrase. I'll give you a ring later. In 99.9% of cases, I'll give you a ring later means я позвоню тебе попозже. Но теоретически это тоже могло бы быть я дам тебе кольцо попозже. So you only know the meaning of this phrase from the context. But usually, I'll give you a ring means I'll call you. Why is to call give you a ring? Because, well, your phone is ringing. Let's have a quick look at other things that can be ringing. Ringing, noun, before. The phone is ringing, the bells are ringing. We say my ears are ringing if you've heard a very loud noise and it's like your ears are still ringing. You can still hear something. The alarm is ringing, or like I said before, the alarm is going off. Ringing. But the most common ones, phones and bells, are ringing. Next one. Вчера у нас была отличная тренировка. You can't say a training. I had a training. It doesn't work. Training is not countable. So you can say, I've got football training tonight. But not a football training. That's wrong. You can't have a football training. You can only have football training. Неисчисляемая. If you want to make исчисляемая тренировка, then you need to add the word session. We had a great training session yesterday. We had a great training session yesterday. Of course, Russian has its word sessia, which is used in universities to talk about exams. Don't say, oh, I have a session next month. It makes no sense. Like a session of what? If we talk about sessions, you always need to put a word before it to explain what kind of session it is. Musicians sometimes also have sessions. Let's have a look, actually. What often comes... We'll just have words that come before session. Of course, the, at, on, during. First, training session. That's the one I was thinking of. You can have a therapy session. Yes. A joint session, совместная, какой-нибудь session. Sometimes we talk about sessions in court as well. So a session, it's a kind of event, I suppose. Recording session, that's for music. You can have a recording session with your band. We had a great sesh. Sometimes we make it shorter as well. A great sesh. So, session. 280. Цены растут, когда предложения падает. Prices rise when supply falls. So in economics, the first law of economics is about supply and demand. What's that? Предложение и спрос, I think. Supply and demand. Мы снабжаем армию продовольствием. We supply food to the army. So снабжать is also to supply, and снабжение is supplies. So I don't know. We are running out of supplies. That will be снабжение, I think. We don't have enough. And the person who supplies you with something is, of course, your supplier. Нам нужно сменить нашего поставщика. We need to change our supplier. So, поставщик is a supplier. Supplier. Hold the la. Supplier. Supply. Supplier. That's another set of 10 words. So, it's time to press pause, take a little break, review the words, do the tasks on hopkinsenglish.com or in the Hopkins English app, and then come back and watch the next part of the lesson. Okay, the fourth part of the lesson. Я не в курсе этой проблемы. Я не в курсе. I am not aware of this problem. So, быть в курсе is to be aware of something. Of course, я в курсе, perhaps it's not very formal, whereas aware is quite formal in English, but it's the same idea. Yes, я в курсе. I am aware of the situation. Aware, not aware. Мы хотим повысить осведомленность об этой проблеме. We want to raise awareness of this problem. This phrase, to raise awareness, is used all the time in English. Everybody wants to raise awareness of their pet problem. Like lots of people have a pet problem. I want to, let's just have a look at some examples actually. Raise awareness of, we'll remove the awareness or we won't get enough words, but what do people want to raise awareness of? I want to raise awareness of the importance of. We want to raise awareness of these problems, raise awareness of these issues, raise awareness of cancer, breast cancer, for example, raise awareness of damage to the environment. So when people worry about a particular issue, a particular problem, very often they want to raise awareness of that problem. They want everybody to know about it. And that's awareness. And it's a word that we use all the time, especially social, influencers on social media. They want to raise awareness of this thing, that thing, raise awareness. All right, 282. Меня воспитывала моя бабушка. I was brought up by my grandmother. So that's a nice phrasal verb. Everybody should know it. To bring up. Воспитывать ребенка. And воспитание. У меня было хорошее воспитание. From bring up, you can make a noun. I had a good upbringing. But an upbringing is always particular to one person. So, моё воспитание is my upbringing. Его воспитание is his upbringing. But if you want to talk about воспитание детей в целом, then you need to talk about parenting. It's a book about parenting. This book will tell you how to give your child a good upbringing. So, воспитание в целом is parenting, но у каждого есть свое воспитание. Each person has their upbringing. Next one. Мой брат работает в благотворительной организации. My brother works for a charity. When you say charity, give it a lot of sh. It's not just Russian ch. It's charity. Charity. Lots of sh in charity. Obviously, благотворительная организация is a very long phrase. Charity is not so long. Maybe that's why we talk about charity, and we have so many more charities in the UK, in the US, than you can find in the post-Soviet space. Anyway, charity. You can also use the adjective charitable. That's a charitable response. If it's charitable, it's like you give him the benefits of the doubt. If it's uncharitable, you don't give the benefits of the doubt. What does the benefits of the doubt means? Well, so if, I don't know, the child behaved badly in the lesson and you say, oh, well, maybe he was tired. Maybe, he's got some problems at home. That's a charitable response. Maybe it's not his fault. Whereas an uncharitable response would be, I don't care about his problems at home. I don't care that he's tired. I don't care about illness. Why did he do badly in the exam? That's uncharitable. So you can be charitable and uncharitable. Next one. Это сложный маршрут. This is a complicated route. And here I just want to talk about the difference between a difficult route and a complicated route. Because in some contexts, difficult and complicated are the same. That's a difficult question. That's a complicated question. That's a hard route. Or a hard question. But in this context, they're different because difficult means it's physically demanding. Maybe you have to climb over a mountain, something like that. Maybe you have to walk through thick forest. But a complicated route means you have to follow difficult directions. It's hard to find the way. So complicated is сложно в плане надо много думать. Difficult, сложно в плане надо много работать. So slightly different. Это усложнит ситуацию. This will complicate matters. While we're talking about complicated, actually, let's just look at some collocations. Oops. Complicated. Yeah, you can talk about a complicated relationship. You can talk about a complicated process, a complicated situation. Все непросто, сложно, вот. It's complicated. Ей пришлось остаться в больнице из-за осложнений после родов, осложнения, complications. She had to stay in hospital due to complications after giving birth. So, complicated, complications. The stress moves when we use the noun complications. It's complicated, there were complications. Next one. Мне нужен костюм льва для вечеринки. I need a lion costume for the party. I'm curious which words are often used before costume. Of course, of course. I love your Halloween costume. When you say costume, you can pronounce tu with a ch. That's what I do. Costume, costume, costume. My son has a superhero costume. Superman or Spider-Man. That's a cute bunny costume. So, bunny is a rabbit. It's like the ласкательная форма for a rabbit, a bunny costume. There you can see dog costume, clown costume, pirate, a pirate costume. And of course, I think it should be obvious that костюм для, не знаю, для бизнеса, для работы, для свадьбы is not a costume. That's a suit. But costume is when it's, you know, you're trying to look like somebody else. So in all these cases, you are trying to look like somebody or something else. That's a costume. 286. Это наименее желательный результат. This is the least desirable outcome. Desire, желание, desirable, желательный, or maybe желаемый. I don't know if there's a difference actually there. But to desire something is, to wish, to have something. But we don't use the verb very much. We use the adjectives desirable, undesirable a lot more. I desire to win. I desire a victory. So theoretically, those sentences are correct, but we usually just say want, you know. I want to win, I want a victory. But desirable, undesirable. Why? Because from want, you can't make an adjective like that. But from desire, you can. So that's nice. Ковыряние в носу плохая привычка. What's привычка in English? Picking your nose is a bad habit. When you say habit, remember, you need to open your mouth before you pronounce the h. Habit. Not habit. Ha. With an open mouth. Habit. It's a bad habit. Next one. Она настояла на том, чтобы покормить меня. Настояла. She insisted on feeding me. Be very careful, don't say insist. Insisted. Sis. The vowel almost disappears. Yes, it's the stressed syllable, but the vowel is hardly pronounced between the two long but unvoiced s sounds. Insisted. She insisted on feeding me. Sometimes you say, if you insist. I don't really want to stay for cake, but if you insist, если прямо настаиваешь, then I'll do it. Okay, fine. If you insist. Sometimes somebody, I don't know, tries to pay for something. Say, no, don't. I won't take any money. No. But then I'm like, yeah, I want to give you some money for this. No, I won't take it. Yes, I want to give you the money. Okay, if you insist, then they take the money. My wife's friend, he's a school friend, and he works with tires. And every time we change our tires, we have the same conversation. Let me pay you. No, I don't want. Let me pay you. That's insist. I try to be insistent. Anyway, next one, 289. Он очень странный человек. This is a word which means странный. He is a very odd man. So odd has this meaning, странный. But that's not the only meaning of odd, as you'll see here. Odd also means нечетный if we're talking about odd numbers. So 1 и 3 нечетные числа. 1 and 3 are odd numbers. Interestingly, we also have this phrase odd jobs. I've got some odd jobs to do today. They're not нечетная работа, but it's like, oh, I need to do, I don't know, change a light bulb somewhere, fix something in the garden, and wash the car. Like 3 random jobs. We would call them odd jobs. But the other ones, an odd thing, an odd couple, an odd way, an odd man, it's just странные. Странные. Next one. Эти джинсы слишком узкие. What's узкие? These jeans are too tight. While we're here, the word jeans. Try to, don't just say jeans. Jeans. There's a lot more y in the English way of saying jeans. 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 And more n as well. Jeans in Russian. Jeans. I would say the English version is quite a lot longer because we stretch the y and the n. Jeans. These jeans. These jeans. Lots of y before a voiced n. Too tight. Clipped before an unvoiced t. Jeans are too tight. Дверь плотно закрыта. The door is shut tightly. Tight, tightly. What else can be tight? Let's have a quick look. A tight race is a close race. It's not clear who's going to win. But if we've got a tight budget, it means we only just have enough money. Sometimes we say, money's tight. That means we don't have any free money. You know, like, if your jeans are tight, there's no free space. If money is tight, then there's no free money. I'm in a tight spot. If I'm in a tight spot, I don't have a lot of options. I'm kind of stuck. So that's a tight spot. I'm on a tight schedule. If there's a tight schedule, then I don't have a lot of free time. I've got to be there at this time, there at this time, there at this time. It's a tight schedule. So some different ways that we use the word tight. And there's also a verb to tighten. Помоги мне затянуть эти ремни. Help me tighten these straps. To tighten, to make them tighter. All right, that is another set of 10. So, time to press pause, take a little break. I'm going to take a little break, have a little drink, because I've talked a lot. I hope you're talking a lot too. I hope you're repeating phrases after me, because the more you speak, then the faster you'll get all these words and phrases into your head. So I really recommend that you talk a lot while watching this video. Right, take a little break and then we'll carry on with the next set of 10. And word number 291, the first word in the final set. Сегодня отсутствуют 3 студента. 3 students are absent today. They're absent. Sometimes we also say 3 students are missing today. So absent, missing. And the noun, никто не заметил его отсутствие. Nobody noticed his absence. 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 When you pronounce the sns at the end, try to pronounce it almost without a vowel. Sns. Sns. Absence. What can we have an absence of? Absence. Oh. Absence of collocates. Nouns 3, 4. Let's see what we get. Yeah, we often talk about they convicted him despite the absence of evidence. Несмотря на отсутствие доказательства. The absence of data confirming our findings. Отсутствие данных, которые бы подтвердили наши findings, то, что мы узнали, наши открытия, maybe. The absence of leadership. Отсутствие хорошего лидерства. Absence of support. Отсутствие поддержки. So, a few examples of things which can be absent. 292. В Лондоне нелегко найти недорогое жилье. It isn't easy to find affordable accommodation in London. This is a word where voice typing really helps because I can never remember how many C's and how many M's there are in this word. It turns out it's double C, double M, accommodation. We can accommodate 5 families. This is something like мы можем предоставить жилье 5 семьям. So you can accommodate people, which means give them a place to stay. And we also use accommodate if you can like meet somebody's needs. So they were very accommodating means that they did everything to meet our needs. So not only gave us a place to stay, but they were kind of flexible. They let us get up when we wanted to get up. They let us go to bed when we wanted to go to bed. They let us work when we wanted to work. That would be to be accommodating. Next one, 293. Он нарисовал красную туфлю на синем фоне. Фон. He painted a red shoe on a blue background. Very important, the stress is on back. It's not background. It's background. Background. Ground. Try to really de-stress. Ground. Back is stressed, so what happens? We get a pause before the b. Back. Remember to smile. Background. On a blue background. Next one, 294. Королева носит корону. The queen wears a crown. This is another word. Try to get the sound. Crown. The queen wears a crown. Actually, when we talk, some countries use krona as their currency. For example, Danish krona, I think Swedish krona. We don't call them crowns. We don't talk about Danish crowns and Swedish crowns. Sometimes Danish and Swedish people translate their word krona and talk about crowns, but it's not right. We call krona, and crowns are crowns. Я люблю обсуждать спорные темы. Of course, this could be discussing controversial topics. I love discussing controversial topics. Or I love debating controversial topics. For me, a debate, it feels a bit more formal than a discussion. In a debate, there are 2 sides. It's a bit more like a game. You give your side, I give my side. You give your side, I give my side. And there's always opposition. In a discussion, there might not be opposition. So, I don't know, I can have a discussion with my wife about where to go on holiday. My idea, her idea, my idea, her idea. That's a discussion. A debate, my opinion, the opposite opinion. My opinion, the opposite opinion. So that's debating. There are always 2 different sides, 2 opposing sides in a debate. Если что-то спорно, это спорно, we can say It's debatable. It's debatable, you know. There are at least two sides to this. It's debatable. Next one, 296. В конверте немного денег. Конверт. There's some money in the envelope. Remember, the envelope. The envelope. Try to hold the n. The envelope. In the envelope. Envelope. In the envelope. Yeah. Next one. Я сожалею о вашей потере. I am sorry for your loss. And so that's what you can say to somebody if they have lost a loved one or if they've lost a pet. When I say loss, in this case, it's about death. So after the death of a loved one, we often say, I'm sorry for your loss. And we also use loss to talk about убытка in business. Мы понесли убытки почти в $1 million. We made a loss of nearly $1 million. We made a loss. Next word. Позволь мне стереть это пятно с твоей рубашки. Пятно на рубашке is a mark. Let me wipe that mark off your shirt. So a mark, пятно, but not only that. На дереве есть отметина. There is a mark on the tree. Пятно, отметина, it's the same idea. It's a small thing. Mark. I can't think of another word for it. And it's also a verb, to mark something. So, здоровые деревья помечены зеленой краской. The healthy trees are marked with green paint. So to mark trees, you go and put a bit of paint on them. To mark trees. Animals mark their territory. Let's try that again. Tigers mark their territory. So they will leave a little smell, a scent on the trees to mark the edge of their territory. Mark it. But interestingly, we also use mark when we talk about exams, especially in England, maybe less in America. Я получил хорошую оценку на экзамене. I got a good mark in the exam. Why? I guess because, if you work in a forest and you put marks on a tree, dup, 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 in the exam, the teacher puts a mark. A mark. C, a mark. D, it's a mark. Okay, it's a letter, but it's still a mark. So I think that's why we use the word marks to talk about tests and exams. And what do teachers do? Я еще не оценил, еще не проверил, скорее, ваши экзамены. I haven't marked your exams yet. I know that for teachers, marking is the worst thing about being a teacher. When you take all the books in from the class and you have to mark all the homeworks. I remember working in a language school. I only had maybe 12 students in each group, but when I had to mark all the tests, it took ages. So yeah, I didn't enjoy marking very much. So a mark is a little symbol, I guess, and we use the word in many different contexts. 299. Он упомянул, что проголодался. Что хотел кушать. He mentioned that he was hungry. He just mentioned it. And you can also have a mention. There was a mention. In fact, better like this. You got a mention in the newspaper this morning. Not you've got, there. You got a mention. a mention. Вас упомянули сегодня в газете. You got a mention. To mention, a mention. And the last word is здесь. Разрешена парковка. Parking is permitted here. So, разрешить, you can use the verb to permit. You can also use to allow. Parking is allowed here. But permitted, it sounds more formal. Whereas allowed, it sounds more personal. So my parents allow me to do things, but it's the local government that permits you to park here. У вас нет разрешения охотиться здесь. You don't have permission to hunt here. So this is the word from, this is the, of the three words, permit, permission, permit. I should say a permit, I think. Permission is the one, of course, that we use the most. Permission, can I have permission? Permission, make the mut longer. Permission, permission is the one that's used the most. Разрешение, permission. I got permission from my teacher to leave the lesson early. I got permission from my parents to have a party in our house. Permission. I got permission from my friend to use his car. Разрешение, permission. A permit, I could say, you need a permit to fish here. You need to get a special document that gives you permission to do something. That's a permit. So a permit gives you permission to do something. Permit, permission. Let's have a look at permission to. Permission to, verb. What do we get? Permission to use a firearm, for example. Permission to go home. Permission to speak. Can I have permission to speak? They gave me permission to speak. Permission to leave. Basically all the most common verbs. There's nothing remarkable there. So that's all. That's another 50 words. Now we've done 300 together. We're nearly halfway. This is good. So thank you for joining me. If you've enjoyed the video, please remember to click like. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. It really helps me. It motivates me. And I also really appreciate comments. I read them all. So thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.